That is great. That is great. So, hey everyone, I'm Dan Rockwell. I'm having a conversation with Bruce Daisley. Did I say your name right?
You did indeed. Yes,
Awesome.
thank you.
Awesome. And he is the author of a couple of books, actually. And his latest is Eat, Sleep, Work, Repeat 30 Hacks for Bringing Joy to Your Job. Okay, Bruce, I want to
I'm
know
going to
what
let you
makes,
into a secret.
what's
I'm going to let
that?
you into a secret. I would not advise anyone to buy both of the books because
Oh,
one is an international adaptation of the other. So
okay.
if you bought both of these books, you'd say, you know, this guy, he's got one idea that he's really getting mileage out of.
Okay.
So the Eat, Sleep, Work, Repeat one is the one for the US.
Okay, great. You're like a one-string banjo,
I
right? Bing,
know,
bing,
that's
bing,
it.
bing.
People are like, oh my gosh, this guy is really dragging this idea out.
Hey, whatever. So, and you heard Bruce talk a little bit about Twitter. He was the VP of Twitter for UK. That included Africa, right? And
Yeah, so Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So
yeah,
that included territories from Jerusalem to Egypt to the UK, France, all manner of
yes.
places.
Now I want to stay in France because of the food. That's about it. So hey, I have to ask you. Let's talk about your book for a second and what makes work suck. I just want to talk about how work sucks for a few minutes before we solve the world's problems.
Well, very much so. Probably the biggest way that work sucks right now is that there's something of a burnout epidemic, and it's largely a reflection of good intentions meeting incredibly powerful technology. So many of us over the last 15 years, probably one of the silent stats that has had an impact on the way we're living right now is that the average working day has gone up from 7.5 hours a day to 9.5 hours a day.
Hmm.
And every step of that process, every step of the way, we've felt that the average day going up has felt, well, you know, we're answering emails on the commute in, or we're answering emails on our sofa, and we think, oh, you know, it's not the worst thing in the world. I'm happy to do this. But what the consequence of that is that the average working week has gone up. By some accounts, if your company expects you to be connected to email outside of work, for the average American now, it's up to 70 hours of connectivity
Yeah.
a week. And what that's doing is it's making people feel more burnt out, just more worn down than ever before. One of the interesting symptoms of burnout is depersonalization, and what that means is that we find people way more annoying than they used to be. You might recognize that. You might find that the person who sits next to you drives you crazy, or the woman who sits behind you who seems to talk about last night's TV all the time. It sort of sends you to distraction, and it's one of these symptoms of depersonalization. And it's largely because, you know, work has never occupied so much space in our mind as this ever in history. And the consequence of it is that, you know, it's a bit like someone said to me, something that we maybe all think about over the holiday season. But someone said to me that family, fish, and friends should be limited to a 3-day lifespan. You know, you shouldn't spend too long with any of those things. And it's a bit like that with work. When we're spending so much time with people, they do start to probably drive us to distraction, drive us to a place that we've never previously had that headspace of colleagues. So I think, you know, burnout's probably the biggest way that work sucks right now. Probably the second way, generally, if you say to people, what's their manager like? Their manager generally influences what people think about their jobs. And so, you know, if someone's got a bad manager, they generally think they've got a bad job. And I was really interested, you know, so I said that this book is almost like a cookbook of anyone, how they can improve their work. And I was particularly interested in, most of us aren't the boss. Most of us have bosses somewhere along the way, managers somewhere along the way. So I was particularly interested. What could any of us do? Maybe if we don't have the most power in our workplace, maybe we're 20-something, 30-something, and we're just trying to work our way up the career ladder. What can any of us do to try and improve our work slightly and give them tactics to improve their work culture themselves?
So, Bruce, when are you going to come out of your shell?
I'm gonna sing you a little song in a second.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Yeah, yeah. Do you write music?
I don't at
No,
all. No, no.
no, no.
I'm just, gradually trying to learn a little bit.
Yes, awesome, awesome. So you mentioned, your colleagues can make work suck really because you're burnt out and then people become irritating. And I don't know what my excuse is because sometimes I'm just irritated all the time, whether I'm burnt out or not. You know what I'm saying? And then the other is managers. Um, the manager has this huge impact on how much we enjoy work.